is Rebecca Schissel-Marshall with Whole Body Upgrade, a podcast to help you get unstuck, feel better, and have more energy. Let's get started. Welcome back to Whole Body Upgrade. This is episode number 82, and I'm Rebecca Schissel-Marshall. How are you? How are you doing? I'm doing great. Today's a good day. Today's a great day. And I had so much fun this week. I offered the Whole Body Upgrade, kind of the intro, which was a burnout recovery workshop. I offered that this week, and it was so much fun for me. I love facilitating workshops like that. And it was a little taste of the Whole Body Upgrade that opens, this program that opens March 25th. What I mean by opens is that the course page becomes available to anyone who's registered or paid. So if you're feeling stuck, if you are feeling burned out, if you have migraines or digestive issues, which are common causes isn't exactly the right word, but the common things that go along with burnout, right? These physical issues that we have are fibromyalgia. I've worked with clients with fibromyalgia or liver disease or arthritis. It doesn't really matter, right? There are all these different things that it shows up as in different individuals, and there's a way to work with them. And this 8-week course is a healing container to help you change your life. That is what it's all about. I've taught this course several times now, and it's always amazing to watch people change in that short period of time. It used to be 6 weeks, and I lengthened it to 8 weeks to just give a little more buffer in there. And what I see in those 6 to 8 weeks has been chronic pain going away, pain they thought they would never get rid of. People who are no longer feeling stuff, people who start actually moving forward in their business, people who start feeling better and having more energy than they've ever had, more clarity, better mood, less anxiety, right? All of those things that typically go with burnout. So they just feel better, and that's what it's all about. Everyone's always like, what do you mean feel better? And I'm like, there's so many pieces to it. So I'm looking forward to having this program run again, and I'm looking forward to supporting the people who are ready to make this kind of change in their lives and to do this program. Part of what I've been learning for myself in the last, since June last year, and really a lot in the last few weeks, is it's already included in what I'm doing, but there's going to be some more things that I'm going to add to it. I was thinking about this last night. And this can be really important, right? Some of these different things. One of the things that I've looked at in healing my own burnout over the last year, I want to share those things with you. And some of these things I'm learning not at an intellectual level, but more in the body level, right? In my bones, deep in my bones. And for me, that can be very different. The academic or intellectual learning is very different from when there's a deep learning, a deep feeling in my body. This week, what I've been noticing and watching and learning is about stillness. It's so amazing to me how things can come in these different layers, things that I've learned before, and then either I'm reintroduced to them or I just get them at a deeper level, or I experience them differently. And I've been a meditator for, 23, 24 years, probably a little bit, maybe 25, as much as that many. And I'll tell you, my experience is that there's so many different nuances to this idea of stillness. Most of us think of stillness as, sitting still, right? We think of that word stillness is the physical body being still. What I'm noticing again in my life, and as I said, I've seen this before and I'm really feeling it, is that there is definitely a time to be still where I'm not moving, and for deep rest, for napping, right? For all of those beautifully delicious things that I need, right? Not moving off the couch. And there is also a time for this practicing stillness in movement. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, is what I've been noticing more and more is how I'm being called to, right now at this point in my life, this less traditional kind of stillness, or at least less what we in the Western culture think of. So I am being called to more meditation too. I'm being called to more actual physical stillness. And what I notice about that, well, let me talk about this part of when I'm being called to more stillness in that practice of sitting still on a meditation cushion. That's where I'm practicing it. That sitting still on a meditation cushion, sitting in meditation, is the practice of cultivating presence and awareness that goes along with this stillness. What do I mean by that? Well, in the past, maybe this will help explain it. In the past, I've been to silent retreats where the practice was to cultivate awareness and inner stillness while also doing a task, doing a thing. A common example of this is walking meditation. It's a great skill, right? When we learn to be present, being present while you're sitting is probably it can be, it's different for different people, but it can be the easiest way. Like you aren't worrying about all these other moving parts, right? You're just being still in sitting. Walking meditation kind of takes it to that next, like, how do we be still in movement? Right? Still moving, but not allowing the movement to ruffle or move your mind out of stillness. And I also really love a practice that I've been to on some retreats called working meditation, right? And these experiences, you can just see so much. In the practice of working meditation, you're doing something, not just walking, but you may be doing yard work. You might be washing the dishes. You might be doing your laundry, or you could be writing a report, right? Those are all practices of movement where you're still cultivating stillness. You're cultivating awareness, watching what comes up, aware of what comes up, noticing it, coming back to the sensations in the body, your breath, right? All of that. We just come back over and over again instead of going further and further away from our true, authentic nature. So this week, what I've been watching to is how I just kind of lit up at, and I'm drawn to this idea of stillness in activity. So could be cleaning the shower, could be planting the garden, or working on whole body upgrade, or even posting on social media, right? So not doing those things from a place of pushing or from the mind taking over and allowing a conversation to happen. It's cultivating, again, that quality of presence, of stillness in movement, that it just feels really good in my body. And what I've been looking at is it feels like there's some sort of a connection here with self-pressure. So self-pressure is when you're like, oh, I really should be, or I really need to do, this thing, right? So self-pressure is definitely something that I have a lot of in my mind. Thank you, patriarchy, for instilling that in me. So as I was sitting in the sun this week, and I was on my deck, and I was really, this was a big practice for me just to sit on my deck and read. This is hard for me. I just want you to understand that it's not like I'm, like, oh, how lovely. I really had to work on this. So I was listening to I bought something called a crystal report from Michelle Wolf. If you haven't had one of these yet, I highly recommend it. Michelle Wolf with 2 F's, and I think it's thatmichellewolf.com. She's amazing. Love her. And in that moment, as I was listening to this, the channeled message, which is what this crystal report was talking about stillness, the connection of stillness and movement. And there was a whole bunch of other stuff in there, but that was like one of the threads. And as I was listening to it, in that moment, it was like a weight had been lifted. And what my experience of it was that it was giving me permission to do, like to have activities and be still. It's so hard to explain the sensation in my body. It was like, oh, you mean that I've really been I want to create this, like I have this idea. My boys have a huge trampoline in my backyard. Sidebar. They have a huge trampoline in my backyard, which is an eyesore. Oh my goodness, it's such an eyesore. And we like cleaned out this little area that we thought we were going to have like this above ground pool. We tried it last year and nobody ever got in it. Long story. It's miserable. Anyway, I'm distracted. We have this nice, beautiful area that's been cleaned of the bamboo that is in our yard that I want to create a patio and maybe change where my fire circle is. I have this beautiful fire circle that I created several years ago. So in that moment, I'm on the deck and it was like, oh, you mean I could work on this patio in my backyard? It was like permission granted. And it was so good, right? Where I'm being led, what life drops in is working on my business. What life drops in to do next is helping my family. What life drops in to do next, right, is rest for my body. Maybe it's a nap. Maybe that's what drops in next. Or maybe it's reading a book, right? All of those things are possible. And that subtle self-pressure, back to the self-pressure, right, of what and I'm going to put this in quotes, should be doing, that was causing me to spin my wheels, right? And what I was actually, earlier in the day, I'd been thinking I should be working, right? It's so very subtle. It doesn't come out as a should always for me. Sometimes it's like, I gotta work, right? Because should would be really easy for me to notice this part of my brain, right? So, but I was sitting there going, I'm not getting anything done. What I really want to do is sit on the deck in the sun and read my book. Love it. Then I got the email from Michelle, listened to her audio channeling. Love it. Felt huge, like a huge weight had been lifted. And suddenly I actually felt like working then, which is the irony of it all. So in that way, right, stillness is about accepting, right? That internal stillness. It's about listening. Deep listening is what I talk about in Whole Body Upgrade. Deep listening for what is next, listening for what is needed, allowing life to drop in the information that is necessary. Self-pressure is that old underlying patriarchal belief that work equals doing something on your to-do list, right? That work equals worthy. Productivity equals worthy. That there are only certain activities, right? That, again, putting in quotes, count towards getting anything done. Now, for my mind, I have to be really careful about this because I do love a good productivity, checking off to-do lists. And again, this is how I was programmed. The more I do, the more I was praised, right? As a child and really throughout the educational system. Oh, you did a good job. Here's your gold star, right? So for me, sometimes cleaning the shower, which might feel like I can do that in stillness and be active, can also look like productivity, depending on what the self-talk is, what the mind is saying. It's not really self-talk. I'm gonna back that up. It's like this little critical voice in the head. It's not really self-talk. It's not really you. That's really important to me. When you have that little voice in the head saying you should, whatever it is, right? You should be doing this. You should be cleaning the shower. You should be doing something productive when what you really want to do is read a book. That is really a good place to notice. When when I wanted to clean the shower, it was like, you know what? I really feel like cleaning the shower today, which I'm telling you never happens. This is something huge when that comes into my orbit, because that is not me. That's like something my husband loves to clean. I don't really understand this, but apparently there are people out who love to do that. I do not fall in that camp. So it's more of a feeling in the body and this conversation in the mind about what I quote unquote should be doing, right? So if I should be cleaning the shower instead of reading a book, that's good information. If I should be working and I really feel like cleaning the shower, good information. And to notice if that cleaning the shower is where that's coming from. So I should be, if I should be doing something like cleaning, but I really want to be on the deck, check in with that feeling, right? The emotion and the sensations in the body. Or the example this week that I was talking about earlier is that I should be working, right? There was that feeling sense of like, oh, like I've got things to do. It's like, right, that whole conversation. When what I really wanted to do was sit in this beautiful spring sunshine on the deck. And there was such a lightness after remembering that the stillness can come in many forms. It's a quality, not an activity, right? So if I'm doing a task to avoid something else, that is in stillness. If I'm listening, this is a good example. This happened yesterday. If I'm listening and it drops in, there was a woman who posted that she had tomato plants. She was in a Facebook group and she's like, I've got tomato plants if anybody wants them. And that was clearly like, oh yeah, I want those tomato plants. When a week ago I was like, I should buy tomato plants. And it was just so lovely, so easy. I supported someone who, this is her first time selling tomato plants. She was super excited about it. Beautiful. So when that brain, right, wants to have a conversation about what should happen, what, isn't going to happen, let's go do the thing that life drops in, right? That feeling, that sensation of stillness. So here's the thing. You might have picked this out. Most of us are conditioned to believe that the harder that we work, the more worthy we are, right? That means we are good enough. That means we are good, right? It means we are loved, we are whatever, all of those things, depending on your history and your story and your nervous system, right? All of those pieces. This creates a disruption of that inner stillness, the inner listening that we have. And as a result, that's where self-pressure evolves, right? We should get this done. Oh, I'm being I hear people saying this, well, I'm so lazy. I'm sitting on the couch. And it's like, well, okay, let's look at what's really going on. What's going on in your body? Is there something you're avoiding? Are there emotions that you're not feeling, right? This is why the 5 wellness bodies are so important, is you can start looking at what's happening. Am I tired, right? Is there a physical thing? Have I not moved my body today and my body wants to move? Or am I tired like, it's been a long week and I need to rest? Or is it, what I really don't want to do is have that conversation with that person about the right? Like all that sort of stuff. So all of that can be a part of self-pressure. And here's the thing, it doesn't actually help. right? It doesn't help us to be, and I'm going to put it in quotes again, more productive. I feel like this whole episode could be quotes. So what I'm doing is I'm practicing being in stillness, no matter what activity I'm doing, right? I'm cultivating that deep listening that serves my nervous system, serves my physical body, it serves my emotional body, my mental body, my energetic, my spiritual body, all those layers of the 5 wellness bodies. The practice of stillness, and I'll say this companion skill of awareness, they kind of really go hand in hand, are some of the most helpful skills that I've found. They are really, and that stillness kind of goes with deep listening, right? Stillness to me and deep listening are almost, they're so very close, right? Awareness is watching what's going on, noticing, being aware, and then watching watching what happens, observing it without judgment. That's the mindfulness piece. And then being still about it, not being reactive about it, right? Oh, isn't that interesting? Really curious. So that awareness and then that stillness can bring about the listening too of, well, gosh, I'm hearing or I'm feeling this in my body. I'm really listening to what I need right now. So all of these are what I teach. It's foundational to everything, is my opinion of when someone is dealing with burnout or with health issues. They're a big component to the whole body upgrade program as a result of it. And when I do seed moment healing and one-on-one clients. So if you would like to practice this more, this stillness, this awareness in a very practical way, right? This is a practical application. Both of these things, as I said, help with burnout. This program is the place to be. Whole Body Upgrade program opens this week. So probably by the time you listen to it, it'll be the day after. It's going to open Friday, March 25th. And registration is going to close on Monday, the 28th at midnight. So it's just a few days from now. So excited. It's going to be a small group. It's an 8-week program that consists of ceremony and listening, deep listening, and education, as well as live coaching with me and lots of videos and audios that you can listen to and watch. And the course is only $333. So I want to empower, my purpose here is to empower as many women to listen to that inner stillness, that inner wisdom, and to really learn to trust themselves, putting themselves at the center of their own wellness. To me, this is the key to recovering from burnout. And this is really how, again, I've said this before, I believe this is how we're going to change the world. And of course, this is how we're going to help to dismantle the patriarchal system. So, no small thing. So, dear ones, I'm so glad that you listened today. I really appreciate this. And if you have questions, you can feel free to email me. I'll put my email in the show notes. And until next time, then take good care of yourself. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Whole Body Upgrade. If you'd like to learn more about working with me, you can visit me on Facebook or Instagram or on my website, Centered You, that's centeredyou.com. See you on the next episode of Whole Body Upgrade.